Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Codis Arcade. In this session, I will be starting with another very important topic in object-oriented programming concepts in Java. The topic is constructors in Java. So in my earlier session, I introduced you to the OOPS concepts, classes, objects, object creation, reference variable, the types, and then we moved on to global and local variables and their differences and the scopes. In this video, I will be talking about one more very important topic, which is constructors in Java. So it is also related to object-oriented programming in Java. So today's topic is constructors in Java. So let us start with that. But before starting the video, I would like to request you people to please like and share our videos with your friends and family. And at the same time, don't forget to subscribe to our channel because that will motivate us more to bring more and more videos to you of the same topics and maybe some different topics. Okay, so without wasting any more time, let's get started. As I said, today's topic is constructors in Java. So what do we mean by constructors? In Java, a constructor is a block of code similar to a method. It is called when an instance of the class is created. So at the time of calling a constructor, memory for the object is allocated in the memory. So it seems a little complicated, right? Let me simplify it for you. Actually, constructor is actually a special type of method which is used in order to initialize an object. Now it is simple, right? Whenever we want to initialize an object in Java, we have to use a constructor. So every time an object is created using the new keyword, then it becomes a constructor. That means a constructor is created or called. So if there is no constructor defined inside a class, then it calls a default constructor. So that default constructor is provided by the Java compiler if we do not create a constructor inside a class. So basically there are two types of constructors. Let us go on to the types. They are no argument constructor, and the second one is parameterized constructor. Yes, these two are the main types, and we also have something called default constructor. Okay, so no argument and default can be considered the same, and the second type is the parameterized constructor. As the name suggests, no argument constructor means in the constructor definition we don't have any arguments in the definition, and parameterized means we will have parameters in the constructor. So here I want to tell you one more important point, which is why is this called a constructor? That is the main question, right? So it is called a constructor because it constructs the values at the time of object creation. Whenever we create an object in Java to any class, the constructor actually builds or constructs the values at the time of the object creation or instantiation. So is it necessary to write a constructor for a class? No, because if we do not write a constructor for a class, the Java compiler creates a default constructor if your class doesn't have any. So there are rules for creating a Java constructor. The rules are the constructor name should be the same as the class name, and the constructor does not have any return type. And finally, it is a Java constructor cannot be abstract, static, final, and synchronized. I will get to those points. First, let me clear the theoretical part of the topic. So as I said, let us move on to the first one according to the definition. So what is a default constructor or no argument constructor? As the name suggests, a constructor which has no parameters is known as a default constructor. So You understood, right? Whenever the constructor does not have any parameters, it is known as a default constructor. And secondly, the parameterized constructor. So what will it be? A constructor, if it has a specific number of parameters, it is called a parameterized constructor. Now, when I go on to the practical aspect, you will understand more. So I will show you an example, then you will understand more about that. But before that, why should we use parameterized constructors is the next question. So we use parameterized constructors in order to provide different values to distinct objects. It's as simple as that. In order to provide different values to objects, we use parameterized constructors. But we can provide the same values also. It doesn't matter. So now let us move on to an example so that I can show you the precise difference between these two types of constructors, the no argument constructor or the default constructor, and the parameterized constructor in Java. So here you can see I have an example here. This is my package. I have created a class which is calculator, and in here I have two variables which are int a and int b. The data type of these two variables a and b is integer. Then as I told you, this is actually a constructor here. As you can see here, public, then this is the name of the constructor, calculator. So in this, what I have done is I have given values to the variables defined. So a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. Then what I have done is I am printing. This is a constructor. It's simple, but don't worry about this. I will come to the logical explanation part of this. Before that, what I want to say is, let me just comment this part out so I can show you something. So now what I'm doing is I'm commenting all these parts. Okay, now just see this. This is a class calculator. Here I have two variables, int a and int b. Now I have not created any constructor inside this class. Okay, and after that, in my main class, inside my main method, I am doing one thing. I am creating a new object. The name is object1, and in order to create a new object, as I told in my earlier classes, we have to call the class. The name of the class is calculator, and after that we have to name the object. Here I have taken it to be object1, and in order to make this object an object of the calculator class, I have to use the new keyword, and then I'm using the name of the class calculator. So thereby what I'm doing is this object1 becomes an object of the class calculator. Now as soon as we instantiate or initialize or create a new object into any class, the constructor is called. And as I told you, there are two types of constructors, default and parameterized. So you can see here, I have not created any constructor because all this part of the code is commented out. So it will not be executed by the compiler. So now, as I told, if you don't have any constructor inside a class, then a default constructor is created by the compiler for you. The Java compiler does it for us. So now after that what I have done is I am printing object1.a and object1.b. These are the variables which I have defined inside my class definition. So now if I run this, what should I get? I should get a default value, right? So right now these integer values don't have anything. So by default I should get 0. Let me run this. So as you can see here, I am just simply getting 0 and 0. These are the default values which have been assigned to these variables a and b by the Java compiler or by the default constructor which was automatically created inside the class by the Java compiler. We don't have to do anything about it. So as I explained, in case of the default constructor, it is automatically created if we do not create it. But let me show you what we can do to create a constructor. We can have our own constructor, right? So now if I just remove this comment and if I just show you one by one, so here I am putting a comment. Okay, now this part of the code is commented. Now you can see this is an example of a constructor. You can see this is the access modifier. Then we have the name of the class. So this is the rule number 1. The name of the constructor should be the same as the name of the class. After that, what I have done is we have already defined the variables a and b here. So I am just assigning values to it. So I want a to be 10 and b to be 20. Then what I am doing is I am simply printing a message that this is a constructor. So now it will not take the default values 0 and 0 because I am deliberately assigning these values a and b, the values 10 and 20. So now let me run this. Now you can see our constructor has been invoked or called, and automatically we are getting a equal to 10, b equal to 20, and then we are getting this message, which is this is a constructor. Let me show you once again. Yeah, this is a constructor, and then 10 and 20 are the values. Let us see the method or the main method here. So you can see here we have created the object, and when we are calling that, we are getting object 1 value and object 2 value. But before that, as you can see here, we have this option, right? This message. So it is printed here. As you can see, this is a constructor. Then we are getting the values 10 and 20. So this is also a default constructor and there are no parameters inside it. Okay. And what we have done is just to give our own values, we have created this constructor, and as you can see here, we have a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. Now, we can also have parameterized constructors, which are the next type. So let me just do one more thing. I will uncomment this part and I will put the comment here. Let us go and take it one by one. Okay. Now, as you can see here, I told you we can have same name constructors, but we cannot have same definition or signature in the constructors. What I mean is, as you can see here, this is public calculator. This is one constructor. I cannot have another constructor with the same name. Just see here. Now it is throwing an error. See, this is one constructor, public calculator. Here also we cannot create the same constructor with the same name. It can have the same name, but it should have different signature or different parameter values. So if I just put it like this, you can see I have assigned a parameter here, which is int of n. So this is a variable n and it has the data type int. Now this variable n I will assign to my two variables which I have defined here in the class. So a equal to n and b equal to n. Now while calling this method or this constructor, I have to provide a data type in my object call. Let me show you what I mean by this. So here you can see I created this object, object 1, and with the new keyword, I assigned it or made it an object of the class calculator. But here I have not passed any parameter. That's why it is pointing to the default constructor, which is this. This has no arguments. But all of a sudden, if I pass an argument, which is an integer data type, then just see what happens. If I pass say 8 here, it takes n equal to 8. Just see here. It says n is 8. So now automatically it will invoke this constructor, not this one, because depending on the parameter, it will call that particular constructor. So in this calculator constructor, what I have done is I have taken a parameter which is int n. Therefore, when I am passing the value 8, it is directly referring to this constructor. So it will not go to this constructor. This type of operation where we can have more than one constructor with different parameters is known as constructor overloading in Java. So, as you can see here, this method or this default constructor has been overloaded by this method because I have given different parameters. Here there were no parameters, that's why it was called default. Here I have given different parameter, which is an integer n. So now if I run this, you should get that the value of a is 8 and the value of b is 8, because here while creating the object I have passed the value of n as 8. Let me run this so that you get clear about this. So you can see a and b values are 8. So this is one type where we had integer data type inside the constructor. This was the parameter. Now let me show you the other type. So I will just delete this comment, or in other words I will uncomment this thing, and now you can see I have two data types here. The data types are double and int. So this double of x, I cannot pass it to this a variable because just see here I have defined a to b of the integer data type inside the class. Therefore what I am doing is I am typecasting it. From double I am explicitly changing it to the integer data type. This type of conversion is called typecasting. So ultimately this double value will be changed to integers. So if I provide 8.3, it will take the value 8. Let me show you what I mean by this. I will just delete this. Now, according to the definition, we have double and then integer. So let me pass them likewise. So 7.8, then comma, let me provide integer, say 2. Okay. Now you can see x equal to 7.8 and y equal to 2. So here we can see double of x, int of y. So ultimately this 7.8 is referring to this variable x and this 2 is referring to this integer y. Now out of this, when we run this program, we should get the integer value of 7.8, which is 7, and then for y we should get this one 2, or to be precise for b we should get 2. So let me run this. Yes, here you can see for this call 7.8 we are getting 7 because I typecasted it from double to integers. That's why I'm getting 7, and for y or for b variable we are getting 2 because of these two print statements. And let me show you, I can create one more object, and for that what we need to do is we have to call the class by the name calculator because the name of my class is calculator. Then I can create object 2 is equal to, we have to use the new keyword, and then again we have to call our calculator class, and inside we can give any parameters depending on our wish. So suppose if I don't pass anything, then it will go on to the default constructor and then it will print a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. Let us run it. So what is happening actually? What is happening is we did not provide a print statement for our second object, right? That's why it is not taking the values. So suppose here what I will do is SOUT tab, and here if I say object 2 dot a, and if I say SOUT tab object 2 dot b, now what do you think we should get? We will be getting a equal to 10, b equal to 20. Let me run this. Here you can see for the first one, just because we had provided the double and the integer values. That's why we got 7 and 2. And for the second one, just because we did not provide any arguments here or values here, therefore we got the default constructor, which had the values a equal to 10 and b equal to 20. So as I told you, constructor overloading in Java is a technique of having more than one constructor with different parameter lists. So in this case, you can see this is one constructor, this is one constructor, and this is one constructor. So every single constructor is having different parameter lists. So in this one, we don't have any parameter. This one we have one parameter. In this one, we have two parameters. In this way, we can have more number of constructors with different parameters, maybe 10, 20 parameters also. So depending on that and depending on the way we create our object, that particular constructor will be called at that moment when we run the program during the execution time. So I hope you have understood about this. And finally, before ending this video, I want to tell you one more very important thing, that a constructor does not return anything. Therefore, we cannot write any data type in front of the constructor. So if I write int, you can see it will give me an error, as you can see here. And if I write float also or double also, it will give me an error because a constructor does not return anything. It gets called in order to create the object. So depending on the way we call the constructor, it will behave likewise. So as I told, constructor overloading is a process where we pass different types of parameters to the same name constructors. So in a class, we can have many number of constructors. So we learned about default constructors or no argument constructors, and then we learned about the parameterized constructors, and finally we learned about the next topic, which is constructor overloading. So this is it about this video. We have learned everything about constructors. We will learn more and more about the constructor because it is a very important terminology in case of object-oriented programming in our future videos. So that's it. If you have any doubts, you can ping me in the comment section, and it will be highly appreciated if you share this with your friends and family if you have really liked it, and don't forget to press the bell icon if you want to get notified about our latest updates. Thank you. This is Saurabh signing off. Have a nice day and happy learning. Bye bye.